Hello, this is Positive Vibes Enterprise. I am Tom Goodwin and Astrogoodwin, and this is sort of an improvised video I'm doing. It's going to be on my training program, Astrogoodwin Spiritual Training Program, and Michelle could not make it here. She's away visiting relatives. But we have a couple of stand-ins you can see in the corner. Where you got Libby Bell, which is Michelle's wonderful dog, and there's Ampy. Now, it might have been difficult for me to do this video if I didn't have them watching, because if they heard my voice, they'd probably be barking at the door at this location. So I have to improvise and make them part of it. And you can see that they are happy, and Michelle, when she sees this video, she'll be glad that they are doing well. I am dog sitting for them, for her and a friend of hers. And so Libby's not alone. She has company. Okay, let's get on to the spiritual training. Of course, this is part of it. But one thing about spiritual training, the way I've had to do it, I've had to improvise all my life. I've had to make do with conditions. And that's what I'm doing right now. It's always been that way. The thing with any kind of spiritual training program, which I have to bring up, is you have to be careful. Because it's an exercise training program, the body has to adjust to it. It's not going to happen easily or simply, because spiritual training is rough. It is hard. It is challenging. And right now, I don't have Michelle to moderate my energy, so you're getting the real deal of Astrogoodwin, Thomas Goodwin. I'm the one that, the spiritual pioneer that developed the meditative training techniques. And I've had to do it in the real world. And it's not, I mean, I can do the typical meditation where you do deep breathing. I can do that. But the type of breathing I do in my meditative exercises, it's not the type you're going to see in typical meditation. I've developed my own, which is meant for crisis type state meditation. It's a type of crisis type state meditation. Now, one of the dogs wants to get extra attention, you see, and just came over here. So that's a little bit more about how you have to improvise, because these things happen. But what I'm saying is I don't have the typical type of training program. I'm not typical. There's nothing about me that's typical. I was born unique. I had a speech problem because of my weak finer motor skills, I believe. Of course, you could say that I had an operation for being tongue-tied, but I think it had more to do with my being born neurologically different. So my finer motor skills are not that great, and I don't have a very good visual memory. My visual memory tends to see things on a core level. So the reason I do what I do is I'm not good at other things. I'm a very unique individual. Unique individuals in this world are not treated very well, a lot of them, because we tend to deal with people as groups, as like tribes. And then when it comes to being sensitive to differences, it always seems to be tribes. And even some of the tribes, you have an ideology that comes along with it. Now, I develop spiritual theories that are for individuals, that adjust to individuals. I'm not tribal. So that's another thing that makes life challenging for me, is I live in a world that is tribal, that cannot deal with individual differences very well, cannot deal with unique people. It has an educational system that's not set up very well. So I've had to make do, and the spiritual is why I'm still here at the age of 65. And you've got to understand, I'm a 65-year-old. I'm no youngster. and I can still do incredible physical, spiritual training that would have been hard for me to do when I was in my late 30s, when I was in very, very good physical condition. So that's, again, the type of training I do, you have to have time to adjust to and get better at it. It's not, and you have to, of course, you always should check with a medical expert or a professional, a doctor, to make sure you can handle these things. Or if you don't, it's at your own risk. I'm not going to take, I'm not going to say, I told you to do this without checking with, to make sure that you're capable of doing it safely. And you got to try to focus on doing it safely. I do real intense exercises, but I do them with as much carefulness as intensity. And I've done these things. I've done my meditative training for over 30 years. I've done my dumbbell swing exercise for over 4 years. So it takes time to develop this. And of course, when I started my dumbbell swing exercise training, I did that while I already was in pretty good condition. I had run 2 marathons before, and I had not stopped training since I'd done the 2 marathons, so my physical conditioning was still pretty good. So it's just, what I mean is I do not fool around. This is the real Tom Goodwin, Astrogoodwin. I don't not fool around. I am a spiritual pioneer. When I say that seriously. And I say that in a world that does not like spiritual pioneers because they say all the spiritual knowledge is in the past. Look backwards in an ancient wisdom. You can't beat ancient wisdom. Well, I say ancient wisdom can be improved on. And it better be improved on because this world has to get out of the dark ages spiritually. And you look in this world and you see all the abuse and all the wars and all the terrible things that are happening. You cannot say that the spiritual theories that dominate this world are doing that well. They are not. They're not doing well enough. We need better ones. And that's why I'm here, and I'm in a resistant world that does not like anybody to claim that they can develop something new in the spiritual area. I mean, it's hard enough for somebody that's a scientist to develop something new, but it's even harder in the spiritual, and that is what I'm up against. Okay, let's get down to business here. Now, I can do a meditation in all kinds of different positions. And so I'm sitting here, right? I'm going to do a meditation. Now, when I do a walking meditation, I do this movement with my shoulders. Why do I do that movement with my shoulders? Well, what that does is it actually sends more blood to the brain. And when you're in a meditative state of the type that I create, you need that extra blood to your brain because that helps you to go into a more intense state without losing your focus and fading away, so to speak, because meditation's rough. So you do something like this, and it not only creates blood circulation, but it also creates like a neurological stimulation that'll get the brain going too, because the brain and body just happen to be really well connected together, especially if you work at it. So I do this. And I do that when I'm walking, and I do that with sitting, and I'll do it with lying down meditation. And you can breathe many ways. You can breathe. And I open my mouth and I breathe that way so you can see it's a demonstration. Now, if I'm doing it regularly, it's just going to be. And then it's hard to do it on camera when part of it is you shut your eyes, because if you do this really intensely and you have your eyes open, it'll create tension in your eyes because the meditative state is more like a sleep state. So you don't want to have your eyes open for a lot of the time when you're doing meditation. When you're doing walking, you keep your eyes open when you have to see things. And I wouldn't advise people doing the type of meditative walking I do, where I deal with traffic and everything else, and I just make that part of it. That's my improvising. That's also my dealing with the real world, and I've trained for so long I can do it. But you have to pick a real safe place, and whenever in trouble when you're doing a meditative walk, of course, you stop. In other words, you do not have to keep moving. You can stop at any time and deal with the situation. But so you have to sort of like make do with your training. And so you shut your eyes and you do it. And of course, there's a part of the brain that is very much associated with the spiritual. And people call it the third eye, but it's sort of like the sleep center or the emotional center. And it is between the eyes, and it's not necessarily perfectly located where they say it is, because everybody's different. So don't get caught up that you have to focus on a particular spot between the eyes. It's just generally between the eyes, and you can figure it out because you know where your sleepy energy comes from and your emotional energy comes from. And when you're doing meditation, it's always good to focus on emotions because emotions power the spiritual. And if you can handle the roughest and the most challenging emotions, you can handle anything spiritually. Of course, you have to have the right spiritual theory to enable you to handle the emotions and enable you to utilize the emotional strength you gain in a way that's effective. So here I am. So I'm talking about the sitting meditation, which is and you can do the same thing lying down. And when you're lying down, you can always move your feet a little bit and move your hands a little bit because sometimes your circulation may slow down when you're doing the meditation and you don't want your feet to go to sleep or a thing to happen. So a lot of times you just wiggle your feet or move your hands a little bit. That gives you more of a connection to the oneness because you're connecting with the oneness of your body because you're connecting with the most peripheral parts of the body. So that's why you do that. Now, I'm going to get up now and I'm going to demonstrate the the walking meditation. Now, I'm not going to be able to show the legs so much because I can't go over there and move the camera because I don't have a crew. And I should have a crew. I should have people helping me. I should have people I can train so that I'm not in a position where I have to do it from this, from the camera like this. I need to have, be able to do it in person. So I need people to get the word out. And I seriously mean this. I need people to get the word out. I'm not fooling around. A person like me should be in the spotlight. And I say this with seriousness. There's no doubt in the mind I should be in the spotlight. I've earned it. I've worked harder than anybody, I believe, especially in this area. I've at least matched everybody in the direction of intensity and the effort I put in, and I've done it intelligently. In other words, I haven't just spun my wheels. I've made sure that I did it in a practical way because my survival depended on it. My future survival, my ability to contribute to the world depended on it. Okay, I will go and I'll demonstrate the walk now. I'm going to go back to closer to where one dog is living, and the other dog is on the loose somewhere, and I'll find it later. That's improvising. Okay, so doing the meditative walk. Now you see the shoulder movement. The shoulder movement is very important, as I said earlier when I'm doing the sitting. And of course, the sitting meditation was the result of how I figured it out from the walking. The walking is how I figured out how to do things better. And the thing with the walking, and now I can lift my feet to show the walking with exaggeration. You don't want to lift your feet like that. You want to hardly take it off the ground. You want to be doing more like this. Okay, and you can breathe in with one step and out with the other. Breathe with one arm up, and then in with one arm out up and out with one arm in, like. Of course, I breathe through the nose when I'm doing it, so. And I'll shut my eyes and I'll open my eyes. I'll shut my eyes and I'll open my eyes. I'll shut my eyes and I'll open my eyes. And I can do that in many different rhythms. And the thing is, with meditation, you make it your own. You figure out, I give you the general principles, you make it your own. You figure out what will work for you. Now, I do a more intense type meditative walk, which involves breathing in and out with each step. Now, I didn't develop this immediately. This was a more advanced technique I developed later to intensify it more. So I go, closing my eyes and opening my eyes and all the other stuff. And I do that, of course, breathing through my nose, but I'm exaggerating so you'll be able to pick it up on camera. Now I can exaggerate the foot movement so you can see it, even though, because it doesn't show on camera, I don't have that huge screen here, so I have to make do with the situation I'm in, which is typical. Okay, so, of course you can, one of the things about doing the walk is you go out and you get connected with the physical world, you get that physical spiritual connection, and that's what's so important, because you be quiet, Ampy. You be quiet. Ampy can stay up. Here's Ampy. Okay, you can go up here. See, but you have, that's reality right there. You got that's reality. So you have to, the physical spiritual connection is so important because that's what connects you with reality. I deal with the real world. I don't have a kind of meditation that disconnects you from the world. That's why that's such an effective type training program. Now I will go on to showing something about, I'm going to be doing my dumbbell swings this morning. And this is sort of like is my warm-up to it, this video. I'm not going to do the dumbbell swings on camera because I can't talk when I do them and do them effectively. They require so much intensity, and I do not want to have to do them when I'm not doing them the one time a day because I need all the rest period. Also, I'm going to be doing my third day of running today, and so I need all the recovery time I can have. But so I'm just going to do my warm-up because I can do my warm-up without having to the dogs are distracting me, but I can do my warm-up without it taking too much out of me. Let me change the camera and see if I can get a position that's low down so that I can show you, let's see, so you can see sort of like limbering up, that's my stretch for my legs, limbering up my, bending over and limbering up my myself this way, sort of like bending over stretch. I do dynamic stretching, which, okay, I can put the camera up and do the next part, but I do dynamic, let me get it correct. There it is. I could use a camera person. Okay, so I do dynamic stretching, which, and I do it modified. I do everything my own way. I make it my own, and that's the way I expect others to do it. Make it my own. You see why I had the dogs in here, because they require all this attention, and they got involved in the situation. I mean, that's just life. Okay, here's my other type of training program where I'm stretching my arms. I'm continuing my stretching. Okay, here we go. See I'm limbering up. Dynamic stretching, limbering up. Yeah. Okay. So getting this done. I even cracked my knuckles a little bit somewhat. I'm doing this carefully. I don't normally do it that much, but I guess in the demonstration I got a little exaggerating, which happens on camera. It's automatic. Okay, then I do this thing, another type of stretch, because I found, because when I was running, that's one of the stretches I found was important when I used to, when I was running in the past. And of course I'm running now, so it's good for me to do this again. Okay, and now I can do my feet, and I'm going to do them sort of like different ways. I think you can see what I'm doing on camera without me having to adjust it again. Stretching my legs in different ways. And one of the things, I should stretch my neck. I sometimes forget, but I can stretch it with different exercises. One side to the other. Up, down, up and down, up and down. This way and that way. And to me, you got to be careful whatever you're doing. You don't want to stretch and overstretch and hurt yourself. So you always have to be careful. I've been doing it a long time, so my neck can handle quite a bit. And the thing is, I'm always concerned with hurting my neck. That's what I'm always concerned with. And so that's why I stretch it, so that when I turn my neck in my sleep or something, I tend to have a lot of tension. I could hurt it. So I like to stretch my neck, because that way it won't get hurt with that readily when I do movements in my sleep or whatever. Okay. Now let's see. So I do this stretch again, and I'll go down again, and I'm not going to adjust it, and I do the squat type stretching. And then I'm ready for my next phase, which will be my dumbbell warm-up. And after I do that, the video is going to conclude, because I'm going to do my dumbbell swings. But here it goes. I take the dumbbell, I lift it up, and I go like this at the beginning 3 times. It's a 20-pound dumbbell. So I'm not super strong. But I have enough strength. The spiritual body type I have, because of all the meditation and stuff I do. In my aesthetic diet, it's a rather lean body. It works well as a runner, but it's not a weightlifting body, even though, it's good that I have some weightlifting capacity. I mean, because, you need strength. You pound for pound, I'm very strong, and that's very important for me. And of course, when it comes to spiritual training, the main thing is having blood circulation. So aerobic conditioning, cardiovascular condition is very important, because that's where inner strength comes from, the inner body being healthy. So it's not all about being an athlete. It's about getting it so that your body can function really well internally, which makes sense when you're developing your inner being. You develop your inner body. So, okay, I'm going to have to get this over with. You can see how tricky it is trying to exercise, trying to do these things, especially when you're me, where you can get distracted because you only can keep track of so many things at once. But so is life, and that's what you have to deal with. You have to be able to improvise and make do with the conditions you are dealing with. Okay, I'll get back in my chair. And so the main thing is to make these exercises your own. I'll go back and I'll quickly demonstrate the dumbbell swing without the dumbbell, so that you can get an idea. Again, I have a video on it, but I'll do that again because I don't want to leave that out. Okay, I do it like this is the barbarian dumbbell swing as I do it. I bend the elbows. It's modified because I want to use more muscles. I don't go by convention. I want to use as many muscles as possible. Do a squat rather than I don't want to do it so much like this where you're not really squatting. I want to do it like this where I squat more, I bend my elbow and do this. And then my breathing, you talk about rapid breathing. I do 10 breaths, no, about 15 breaths per dumbbell swing. So what does 5 breaths seem like? And I do it in 5 breath bursts. And I do 3 of them per dumbbell swing. So here you go. With a 20-pound dumbbell swing, that is incredibly difficult. You're not going to be able to do it. You're going to have to do it with less breathing. You're going to have to modify and do it maybe with 4 breaths. You can go. That's 9 breaths per dumbbell swing, or you can go down to 6, or you can do the thing where you just do the thing of 5 twice, and then you do it, and that's all you do per dumbbell swing. So it's a case of adjusting, and that's the key, is adjusting. Okay, so I better get going. I better get my dumbbell swing done. So the topic today has been Astrogoodwin Spiritual Training. This is Positive Vibes Enterprise. Please get the word out. I don't like doing this alone. And even with Michelle, 2 people is not enough to make the most quality videos. We could use a video expert. We can use a lot of things. If you don't like the quality of it, please join us. Because this is not about making videos. This is about serious spiritual training and spiritual development. And it's also, the dog thinks it's all about them too. So thank you very much. I appreciate you watching. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm sort of like the meditative state affects me, and of course the dogs do too. Till next time, goodbye.